In this lesson, we're going to look at ActionScript we can use to activate buttons. We're going to start with one of our work files from earlier called buttons.fla. It's in your work files. When we're finished, we'll end up with an activated button that we can use to swap between two different instances of a movie clip. This will create two different states of our document. This is going to be very basic at this stage, but it will give you the basis of one method of creating a Flash-enabled website. So we're starting with this button. If you're not using the work files, you should be able to easily create one using our earlier lessons dealing with buttons. The first thing we need to do is set up the timeline. So I'm going to add some frames by clicking and dragging out here. Add frame 30, and I'll hit the F5 key to add the frames. Now we'll set up some content. Keeping things very simple, I'm just going to use a very basic movie clip. Create a new layer, and I'm going to name this rectangle because that's what I'm going to draw. Grab the rectangle tool, draw a simple rectangle, and now let's convert it into a movie clip. Modify, convert to symbol, give it a name, rectangle_MC, and hit OK. And we can't forget, as always, we need to give this an instance name. Okay, now we need to split the timeline so that we can give this document two states. To do this, we'll add a keyframe to the rectangle layer at frame 10. Hit F6 for this. Now select the rectangle, and in the Properties panel, let's apply a color modifier. We'll make this turn red. Now, because I like to use frame labels and not frame numbers for controlling timelines, let's also create a keyframe at frame 10 of the Actions layer and assign labels to both frame 1 and frame 10. Frame 1, we'll just make it first. Frame 10, we'll make it second. We're also going to need to do some housekeeping. If we leave this movie to run, it's just going to keep looping through the timeline. So let's make sure there's a stop action at frame 1 of the Actions layer. And I've already inserted this here. If your file doesn't have one, go ahead and drop it in. Okay, we now have two states of our movie, so all we need to do is activate the button, and then create a new instance of it out at frame 10. And then modify the actions for that instance. The actions of one state of the button are going to send the timeline to the other state, and vice versa. So we're going to need separate actions on each instance of the button. Let's go ahead and do this in the next lesson. So let's move on.